I was born in Russia, in Siberia, and I lived there most of my life. I'm living in Yerevan.
Born in Azerbaijan, grew up in Russia, but now I am living in Baku.
There lived an Azerbaijani family. He brought such big bag of sweets. My brother and me and them, we had really good time together. My mom and the woman, they're still friends.
My father had colleagues from Armenia, co-workers from Armenia, teammates from Armenia. In neighborhood, I met Armenian kids, Armenian families.
For me, they were just our friends, and I never connected them to the conflict, for example.
My mom and my father grew up in the part of Azerbaijan where Armenians lived for years.
My mom also, in her childhood, she used to go to her grandmother in Baku.
In my family, we never discuss this kind of topics, conflict, Armenian hate, or something like that. When we returned back to Azerbaijan, I remember first time noticed this conflict from our school dailies.
I grew up speaking Armenian and Russian at the same time, so I kind of developed a very weird mix.
They prefer to speak Russian in publicly, but at home they choose Azerbaijani as a main language because of me and my sister.
I would not say there was hate or something like that. No, I just knew that I'm not Russian.
I made fight with this guy and I was treated negatively by them after that because of Azerbaijani kid beats the Russians on what you have done. They are foreigner here.
I felt like I've been what Armenians would say Russianized Armenian.
Sometimes they ask a question. What you have done in Russia.
You can visit Yerevan and I can visit Baku.
It's my, I would say, big dream. Good day, Seve. Thank you for our latest Tête-à-Tет. Can you introduce yourself a bit?
Hi, Jalil. I'm Seve and I'm living in Yerevan. What about you?
Me, Jalil, was born in Azerbaijan, grew up in Russia, but now I am living in Baku. And it's really interesting for me to see you here because we have common topic. It's about growing up in Russia. Can you talk about a bit it and tell me how many years you lived there or another things about your Russian memories?
Yeah, sure. So I was born in Russia, in Siberia, and I lived there most of my life. Well, with some also experience of living in Armenia before moving there, with my family. So yeah, the experience was, it was different. Many positive and negative episodes. I'm just like any other things in life. So, and where did you grow up in Russia?
I grew up in nearby Moscow. I grew up in two cities, mainly Tula nearby. It's a small town nearby Moscow, but I also lived in Moscow.
Oh, nice.
But I was born, when I was kid, I was born in Baku, Azerbaijan, and when I was half-year-old kid, my parents decided to move to Russia for a job of my father. We lived, first half year we lived in Moscow, then we moved to Tula, and I grew up there till my 8th.
Okay.
And my mama was a Russian teacher, father worked as a free businessman, as a owner of the supermarket nearby the bazaar. That's all.
Wow. Yeah, I have a bit different experience because I was born in the city in Irkutsk, and also I grew up there, and my mother was also a teacher for some time. She taught mathematics, and an accountant later.
Smart lady.
I mean, my father did different jobs, but I remember him being like a taxi driver too. So yeah, and I grew up like with my younger brother, who was like 1 year younger than me. Yeah. So and yeah, how my family ended up like in Siberia, which in Irkutsk. So you probably know that there is like a huge Armenian diaspora in Russia, but
Yes.
well, in this city it was not huge; it was very small. And my grandfather, he used to go there for work, like in Soviet Union. Like there were a lot of job opportunities in there, like in construction. So he went there, and then he stayed there, and then he married my grandmother, who was like half Georgian, half Belarusian, and then they moved back to Yerevan, and then then my mother and father married, and they moved to Irkutsk. So that's how we ended up there. Yeah. And so what you mentioned that your mother was a Russian language teacher, and so does it mean that you spoke Russian at home?
Okay, my father and mom, both of them studied in Russian. Actually, they prefer to speak Russian in publicly, but at home they choose Azerbaijani as a main language because of me and my sister. I have 1 year older than me sister. She's a doctor now, and in family we try to speak more Azerbaijani. Sometimes in Russian because of my nanny Galia Babushka. She was from Russia. And that's
Yeah, and well, I think I spoke mostly Russian, but I mean, I grew up speaking Armenian and Russian at the same time, so I kind of developed like a very weird mix. I mean, me and my brother, and I think like when I'm asked like what is your native language, I say like it's Russian Armenian. I don't know any other language. It's like a mix of both, and yeah.
Yeah, it depends on which school, what kind of school you start.
Yeah, also this.
You did your school years. I started my kindergarten in Russian-speaking kindergarten, and my sister also. But my sister continued in a Russian-speaking school in Azerbaijan, but me in Azerbaijan is speaking. That's why sometimes it's hard for me to remember some parts of Russian words.
Okay, I see.
But mainly we prefer to speak in Azerbaijani, but it doesn't mean we have any negative effect by Russian speaking.
Yeah.
No, actually I am watching Russian films, I am reading sometimes Russian books. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I also remember my Galia Babushka. She treated me very well. Sometimes I am missing this lady, really. If I have chance, I want to meet with her.
Wow. No, so when we moved to Armenia when we were teenagers, like me and my brother, we went to a class, like Russian speaking class, and there we had like people from all post-Soviet countries who spoke Russian and Armenian, but like mostly Russian, yeah.
Okay.
So that's why, yeah, it just remained like Russian and Armenian at the same time. So, did you meet any Armenians during living in Russia?
Of course, before moving to my mom and my father grew up in the part of Azerbaijan where is, Armenians lived for years, and after moving to Russia, even after the war, my father had colleagues from Armenia, co-workers from Armenia, teammates from Armenia. In neighborhood, I met Armenian kids, Armenian families. Yes.
Was there like any tension between you because like of your ethnicities, or it never came up? Like,
Okay, to tell the truth, as a skin color, my mom is blonde with green eyes.
Ah, okay.
And my father is a bit brown skin. And when I walk in the street with my mom, everybody thinks that I am Russian kid, and they are saying, "Oh, как сладкий парень," blah 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 blah. But when I walk with my father, it's from first moment it's realized that I am foreigner. And in that case, they treated me like as a foreigner. It doesn't mean I feel any negative, but in general, it depends on with whom I am walking. And I was a very white, skinny kid. And I remember how we played with Armenian kids in backside of our building, and we in snowy days. I a lot of remember my snow days than sunny days. How we made different shape of figures from water and frozen ice, frozen water as ice-shaped figures. And it's my good memory with which happened with different nations, including Armenians.
Yeah, wow.
Do you have this kind of memory?
Oh yeah, I do, because so where we lived, like in this part of the city, I mean in the same building I think, or the building, I don't remember if it was the same building or it was like a nearby building, but there lived an Azerbaijani family, and the girl and the girl of the family, I mean the kid and me, we were like the same age, and so my mom and the Azerbaijani woman, they met like at the playground, like where we played, like, and so became friends. And I remember the episode when, so they had two girls, almost like same age, like 2 years difference. And then the woman, she was about to give a birth to a third one, but they didn't have anyone to leave their kids with, because she was about like, so her water broke, like they were going to the hospital, so they left the two girls like with us. And so they stayed like for 2 days, I think. And so the episode, I remember that episode so well, because their father, he brought such like big bag of like sweets and everything to eat, like for us all. So I was so happy at that moment. And I don't know, it was fun. It was fun playing with the girls, and I mean my brother and me and them. We had really good time together. And well, my mom and the woman, like they're still friends.
It's
nothing
nice.
changed.
Nothing changed. I have also this kind of memory. It's related with my mom. My mom, I also have kidney stones. I remember one moment when doctor said to my mom, when my father was in Azerbaijan, said my mom, you should take surgery suddenly because of pain and the size of the stones. I also I also took care by Armenian family during the surgery process of my mom. And yes, I also remember that I miss it, cried with about my mom. I am missing my mom like a small kid. And I remember how the lady gently touched my hair, how she took care of me with meals, sweets. And I remember that my sister was so smart kid. They made good communication with owner of the house, lady. The name is Allah. And it's nice memory. The bad thing is that we don't have connections like your mom and her friend, I mean Azerbaijani friend. But if I have chance, will want to meet them again, because I remember how they made sweets, especially pakhlava. Really, it was very tasty.
Yeah. And now I remember that recently their daughter was about to marry, and this woman invited us for the wedding, like in Turkey, but suddenly there was something, so the wedding didn't happen. But yeah, I would have loved to attend the wedding, to be honest. Yeah, but yeah, sadly it didn't happen, but maybe it will, like in the future. So, but how did you learn about the conflict, like about between Armenia and Azerbaijan? Was it something discussed, or is it? Do you know like how?
Okay, when as a kid,
Yeah.
in my family we never discuss it, this kind of topics, conflict, Armenian hate or something like that. When we returned back to Azerbaijan, I remember first time I noticed this conflict from our school dailies. At the beginning it's written that about the war, First Karabakh War, and also my father was first education on bachelor. My father was history.
Oh,
Okay, but only in school. After moving back to Azerbaijan, I heard about this conflict and the result of this.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember how I discovered about the conflict, or like how did I discover that Armenians and Azerbaijanis don't have like any access to each other, like in those countries. I mean, in Armenia you can't travel, and there is like no communication between the countries. And for me, it was like just something. Also, like about Armenian genocide, I don't remember who told me about Armenian genocide. I don't remember how it was, but it seems like it was always like in my head. But for example, when I remember the time like we spent with like Azerbaijani neighbors, and for me it was so natural. Like for me, they were not Azerbaijan. I don't know. It sounds so bad, but for me, they were just our friends, you know. And I never connected them to the conflict, for example.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know how it works, like in the head, but this is like how it worked for me, for my brother, and I also once I asked my mom, like, so this woman, like, she was from Azerbaijan, you know, and how did you have like any, I don't know, like stereotypes, or why did you approach her, for example, in the playground, like? And she was like, no, of course not. And yeah, because my mom also, like in her childhood, she used to go to her grandmother in Baku, so for her, like,
Okay.
yeah, so it was, yeah, she was used to having like Azerbaijani language or Azerbaijani people like around, I guess. So yeah, it was the same for her. And what about when you moved back to Azerbaijan? Like, did people approach you like as I don't know, outside or Russians, or being from Russia? Was there anything like that towards you?
Actually, I never feel this kind of things because I always try to speak in Azerbaijani. And also Russian speaking in Azerbaijan treated as a second language in Azerbaijan in schools. I told you my sister studied in Russian speaking school. But I remember that from school years, sometimes they asked questions. What you have done in Russia, what kind of issues you have seen there, this kind of, but not how to say, not from the government side or any media side, just from ordinary people, just for interests. That's all. What about you?
I felt like, I felt like I've been, it is what Armenians would say, like Russianized Armenian.
Okay.
No. Because that, I don't know, like the way I look also, I don't look, I mean, people would say I don't look very Armenian. And they would ask me like, but like, oh, you speak so good Armenian, like, where did you learn it? I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, and there are different, like, Armenians from different diasporas living in Armenia, yeah. So I kind of get this feeling that for me it's easier to communicate with people who are from, like, who have grown up like in different cultures, like at the same time, and they had the same experiences, like in the places where they grew up and in the place where they moved to. So yeah, so that's what I felt.
Okay, they are calling you because they are calling you Russianized Armenian because of they know your story, or it's just from your appearance?
Yeah, maybe first, yeah, from the appearance. Yeah, they look at me and they're like, "You're Russian."
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was very like irritated all the time, but then whatever people say, honestly, this kind of identity crisis, I just made peace with that. Yeah, but I know that for some people it is not like that, which is also okay.
But
Yeah.
what about the Russians? What they think about you?
Well, Russians, the thing is, like, I have quite, I would say, Slavic name, and my brother has a very Armenian name, like very typical Armenian name, and he has more like darker. He's darker than me, so from looking at him, you can say like, you're not Russian.
Okay, but
From looking at me, no, you might say like, she might be Russian, huh? And so I personally, I remember that at school, for example, there was this discussion about women or something, and my teacher, it was a German class, and my teacher asked me like, do you like talking, and I was like, no, like I'm more like I don't like to talk much, like I'm kind of like more like I'm a shy person.
Okay.
And she's like, do you think it might be connected to your like nationality, you know, like
Okay.
that you're Armenian, like not Armenian like particularly, but like you're from the Caucasus, and in Caucasus region, you know, women keep quiet. I mean, stereotypically, like that's what she thought. Yeah, but yeah. Other than that, I also remember this girl that I was like in a summer camp, and she asked me like where I'm from. I was like, so like I'm like from Russia, but like I'm Armenian. And she asked me like, does my father force me to wear hijab? Like, okay. So yeah, it's been like a lot of mixing up, because I feel like many Russians also don't differentiate between nations in the Caucasus. I mean, many do differentiate, but many also are kind of ignorant of that, which is also okay if their life is not like spinning around this region. But yeah, that happened.
Do you have special memories, especially by Russian treatment, Russian people treatment, about you are Armenian or you are not our nation but living in our country?
I felt so Russians saying that to my face. I don't recall such a thing. No, but I mean, for example, job of my father, like being a taxi driver, very Armenian.
Okay.
So yeah, or yeah, people would. I would not say like there was hate or something like that. No, I just knew that like I'm not Russian, and they knew like my friends or like my acquaintance said that I'm Armenian. It was like okay, whatever. Yeah.
I remember one my memory about kindergarten, and especially one my not conflict my issue with Russian kid, how I treated at home and at kindergarten. It was a childish conflict between me and Russian boy who is 2 years older than me. I told you that we made different shape of frozen water, and I remember that we filled the boxes in different shape with water, and we put it to outside from in our balcony or in the backyard in our building. And I remember that there was one Russian kid who every time broke my eyes because of I am Azerbaijani, not Russian. And
Wow.
yes.
And did he tell you, like, how do you know he broke it because of that? Did he tell you that?
No, never told that because he did it specially. I was only one kid who was from Azerbaijan in that building, in that area. All of them are Russians, even not other nations.
So just Russians.
Just Russians area. And I remember that I made fight with this guy, and I was treated, how to say, negatively by them after that because of Azerbaijani kid beat the Russian. And I remember that my mom also told me that, hey, son, what you have done? They are foreigner here. You shouldn't do these kind of things. And one other topic is that when we was in kindergarten. Sometimes there's a kindergarten bus, big pool for swimming. Sometimes I remember that I waited in a queue because of I am second nation, not Russian.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I feel that, but in generally I cannot say that. But it was treatment from. It was treatment from the kids, not from the elder people.
I see,
Maybe
I see.
they thought negatively, but never say it to directly me or my parents.
Now I can remember the case where I couldn't rent a flat because I was about to rent a flat with my brother, and they asked me like, oh, what are your names, like yours and your brother, and I told my brother's name. Oh, no, sorry, no. Like the owner of the flat doesn't want anyone from other nations to rent.
Yeah, I also faced this kind of station before, not at this early stage of our movement to Russia, to Moscow. Yes, it still exists in Azerbaijan. If you are not married person, people are not giving you their house as a rent. Yeah, it's maybe. But I didn't think that it's. I didn't think that it's especially how to say negative treatment. I didn't touch this topic as a negative treatment to the second nations because they are. The owner of the house always wants to keep it clean, more safe. But sometimes second nations who are not married coming to Russia, working their special means, they are keeping the house not clean, and that's all. Maybe because of that. But for me, it's not how to say part of treatment. You are in second nation. So.
Well, I do think it is still like that discrimination, and it exists. I'm not saying it is like very. I mean, I think it's typical for all places, but just like when you face it, like you remember again that you're the other, and like you're not from here completely, you know. But also now when I remember like growing up in a city, and we were surrounded like by I would say like by many nations, and also like a lot of in Siberia there is a lot of like people like Buryat people, for example, the ones like Buryatia was very near, and there were like a lot of them in there. So like maybe that also contributed to the fact that there was like I didn't really feel like a lot of discrimination or my brother, you know, because there were different people, differently looking people. I don't know.
Okay.
So, did you have that kind of like identity crisis, or like when they ask you like, who are you, like, or where are you from? You would say always like Azerbaijan. You would, or would you say?
No, when they, it was a childish behavior, but when they asked me where are you from in kindergarten or somewhere, I said I am from Moscow,
Nice.
in Tula.
Yeah.
But in general, they, at the end, I always say that I am from Azerbaijan, and sometimes. I don't remember so many questions about this topic, really.
Okay.
Or maybe 2 or 3 times I remember this question, but in generally in my mind I never, how to say, I never can find some place in my memory about this topic.
Okay. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it was not so huge, but yeah, for me it was like a big thing. And well, do you think like growing up in Russia did contribute to you like, I don't know, becoming part of BGB, for example, or like just facing Armenians in Russia, for example?
Okay, good topic. You want me touch why I'm in BGB?
No, I just because well, for me it is kind of like because I mean not fully, of course, but part of the reason why I'm here also are our Azerbaijani family friends, and yeah.
Maybe why? Because I'm this kind of person. I wanna to see. I wanna to really feel the life or things when somebody talks about that. Because I remember that my grandpa from mom's side told me that how he traveled to Yerevan.
Wow.
It's a big part of my memory from childhood with my grandpa. How the Armenians lives there, how Armenians lived in Göça. Göça is the hometown of my mom, and how they connected with us, each other, the weddings from Azerbaijan side, Armenian side, memories, films. Maybe I am. Maybe because of I was born. Not was born. I grew up in Russia. Affected me to act bravely to communicate with Armenian. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe. I think it depends on personality.
Course,
It
of
depends
course,
on personality.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, I think the same, because so my grandfather, he was born in Baku, and my mom, she spent her summers also like in Baku. And so I also kind of grew up on the stories about like neighborhood in Baku and how so many nationalities like lived under the same roof and how fun it was. So yeah, let's hope that in the future you can visit Yerevan and I can visit Baku.
One day, yes.
Yeah.
I hope that it's my, how to say, big dream to travel by car or by train, by
I think it's going to be possible, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I also believe that.
Yeah.
I also believe that. One
Okay,
day.
thank you, Jalil, for
Thank
that.
you, Seva. Thank you for that.